Okay, let's go.
So, hello and welcome. Right, good luck. Gotta actually get the timing right on the intro for once. So, hello and welcome. Yes, this is a bit of a weird one. This is like, it's not even lunchtime, but I need to get this done because this has to get packed and go to Malaysia. And in testing, brake, where it's been on the shelf for a while, dry seal, so had to fix that, but new brake on it. So now I thought best thing to do is I need to make a new setup and settings video, and try and do it where I can really show what buttons to use for when you're playing a game like MotoGP24 Ride 5, which predominantly written for gamepads, that I have a certain button combination that I use, and that's why I have the layout of my buttons a certain way. There are going to be new button layouts coming, but for now this is what I'm using, and so it's going to be basically me trying to show you how to set it up. First off, you've got to set it up in Windows, and I'm going to show you how to do the first initial, which is as soon as you get the system set up on your desktop, plugged in for the first time. One thing you do have to remember with this, if you've got foot controls, before you plug the system into the computer, you must plug the foot controls into the handlebar connector, which is the USB 3 connector. So from the handlebars, you've got a female USB 3. From the foot controls, you've got the male. Those go in. Then you have a USB 2 male connector. Once you've connected the foot controls to the handlebars, plug that into your PC. Now, most of the ones I'm making now, I haven't been able to do anything for a couple of months because I couldn't use my hand to do wiring. My hand was cramping up. I couldn't grip DuPont connectors. I couldn't manipulate my hand. I've done a couple of videos where I've been riding. That's easy. I'm holding the throttle. I'm doing that. But trying to do something fine, even welding, I've had problems. So now I'm back on wiring, getting me Hs3 desktop systems done. So how do you set it up when you get it out of the box? Like I said, foot controls plugged into the handlebars, system plugged into the PC. Now I'm going to make myself smaller so that you don't have to look at my beautiful face, and I'm going to try and do this properly where I make it easier for you to see a lot more about what's going on. Now I've made myself smaller there, I'm going to actually turn myself off for now because I do not need you to see me. Now you can see in the corner my headset. I'm going to show you, well, what I'm going to do is I'll enlarge that so I can show the system so you'll have a bit more of an understanding. So I'm going to enlarge that for now. Now unfortunately, lighting wise, I am at a disadvantage here, but I hope you can see. So on the clutch side, we've got two clusters of buttons, a lower and an upper. These I use for my A, B, X, Y and my back and start. In fact, you can't quite see them because they're black. we've got a slider switch which slides, same here, but I use this predominantly for back and start. This will be, the green is my A, red is my B, red up here is X, and that is Y. That's A, B, X, Y. I'll go through this again. Now, the center ones, you don't actually have to use. See, it's warping in the headset. I'm using my VR headset because it's the only way I can do it. I don't have a camera that will do it. And then on this side, there's a flip switch, so a left and a right on the throttle, in fact. And then we've got our green and our red. I use this for D-pad up, D-pad down, and I could use, there's a toggle here as well, slider switch. I can use that. You can use this for menu left, menu right, but I prefer to use this menu left, menu right, unless I'm in VR, and then I'll make one of these for VR setup to center myself. So that's the basics there. And down here, I've got my foot controls. Like I say, it's so dark you can't really see, but I've got my gear shift, and then I've got my rear brake. But it's dark and I've got no way of setting lights down there. So anyhow, I'm going to put that to the side for now. We'll use that in a minute. But first off, what I want to do is make that smaller, because first of all, what you need to do is be able to set up your controls. You've got to, the very first thing you have to do is calibrate them in Windows. Now, you need to use a program in Windows called JoyCPL, and that is in your, I'll bring up the properties for you, and you can see it's in C, Windows, syswow 64, and then you go down and you'll find joy.cpl. Now there's a lot of folders. It's not a folder, it doesn't look like an exe, it just looks like, because it's not an exe, it's a CPL, and you can't do anything with it, you can't edit it. It's really weird, but anyhow, that is the program you have to have. And basically what you do is you go to C, Windows, syswow 64, find that program, then make a shortcut on your desktop. Best way to do it. So once you've got JoyCPL, your handlebars are plugged in, right click on it. I only have to click once. Now, unfortunately, I've got an Xbox controller because if I use VR, I'm going to need it. But Hs3 Street Fighter Pro, and then hit properties. Now, I've already calibrated this system because I had to test it to start with, which I needed to do to see that, yeah, are the brakes going to go up? Because I need to test it, make sure, because they're hydraulic brakes. If it bleeds down, that means there's an air leak, which I had on the front brake on this. Therefore, I had to fix it last night. So, always I do a full test before I ship. So that is where we're at. So now what you need to do is actually calibrate. So I am going to make it easy. So basically, you go settings. I always say reset to default, calibrate. Then you hit next, next. Now in this window, it's very hard for you to see on the screen. There's a little X flickering here right at the top. That is for my X-axis. So I'm going to move it left and right, get my X, and it's actually centered. Unfortunately, with this program, I can't enlarge it or do anything, and I don't know how to zoom when I'm doing a live stream, so sorry on that. But the first thing you're going to want to access is your handlebars, and therefore that's just moving your handlebars left and right. In fact, what I can do, I can pull up my Brio, because we're not worried about covering the other. So you can see I'm moving my bars. Now it's going to be reversed, but left, then right, doesn't matter what order you do, leave them centered. Now when you do it, if you've got a steering damper, make sure your steering damper is turned all the way, so the dial, the black dial on it, you're going to want, I think I can show it here. If you look, there's a black dial on the steering damper. Now it's a bit dark, but you want that turned anti-clockwise all the way, and that so that the damper is at its minimum setting. That allows the handlebars to recenter. Okay, if you have it clockwise, that's where it gets tighter. So remember, on the steering damper, clockwise makes it tighter, anti-clockwise makes it softer, and that you want that for stopping overreaction when you're in a corner. Right, so that's our X. Now you can click next on the window, but most usual, it depends how your Windows is, I press a button and now it's gone to the next setup window. Make sure you only press quickly once. It's gone to the Z, so I've done the X-axis. Z-axis is going to be the throttle. So I'm going to turn my throttle and let go. Only need to do it once. Then I'm going to press a button. That's taken me to X rotation. Now my X rotation is my front brake. Now, because I'm using hydraulic brakes, it's very important. You need to pull it enough to get it to register from being closed to open, because it's working off a transducer, so it's a pressure transducer. It's registering not movement, it's registering pressure. It's hydraulic. So what you do is you pull the brake and then kind of do a quick, imagine you want the brake really quickly and you jab at the brake. So I'm gonna like pull it so it's not too tight, and then I'm gonna grab it like I wanted to make a stop really quickly. Now depending on how far, the more you squeeze it, the weaker the brake will be. The less you squeeze it, the sharper the brake will be, and it's the same for the rear brake. Okay, so the more pressure you put on when you're in game, you'll need more pressure to brake quicker, whereas if you don't press quite as much, you'll brake a lot sharper. But you have to press enough. You have to experiment with it to get it right. I'm going to say that's okay. Press the button again. Now I'm going on to Y rotation, and this setup will always be in the same order. Now I'm going to do my clutch, which is obviously on the left. So I'm going to pull in my clutch. Now don't worry about how much the line moves. Windows is really funny, and because I'm using Hal sensors, transducers, they register different from their 0 to the end point. Windows recognizes it before you've calibrated it, or even if you've calibrated it, it'll have certain readings. So now I can press it again, and now I'm on the Z rotation, and that's going to be the rear brake. So now I'm going to press on the rear brake with my foot. Once again, I'm pressing it as if I want to stop really quickly, but not too much, because I'm sitting on the couch, so you can't put that much pressure. Now the foot pegs do rotate depending on how you're sitting, so you could be on a stool and maybe you want them at a different angle, or I'm on the couch, so I want them more so they're like forward controls on a chopper, because your legs are going more forward. You have to set yourself up correctly. So that is basically all of that axis. So now we finish, hit finish. Now you can see all of our axis. We're going to have our steering here, our x-axis. Then we've got the z-axis is throttle, x-axis, x rotation, that is front brake, y rotation is your clutch, and z rotation is your rear brake. Hit apply and OK. Now you can close that down. So now if you went into GPbikes, you'd have to do that calibration again. I'm not going to do that in this one. You'd have to do another calibration in order to set it up for GPbikes, because GPbikes allows you to, without affecting the Windows calibration, to set up specifically in GPbikes. So if, say, you're riding a 125 and you want different brakes because it's not as strong, you can, through calibration, adjust your braking. And then if you go on to, say, an R1M, you've got sharper brakes, you can go back to calibration in GPbikes, recalibrate, make yourself sharper brakes, and it will not affect your Windows calibration. That'll be purely for GPbikes. I'm not going to do that now. A lot of people don't have to get walked through that. But now what we need to do is set up X360. So if you're playing a Milestone game or Iron TT, you need to set up your controller and trick Windows into thinking it's a gamepad. And this is the pain in the bum, is that even in 2025, all these software houses are literally, they're monopolizing the industry by forcing you to have to use a gamepad for motorbike games, and it's disgusting. It's monopolization, it's illegal, and I'm totally against it. So, the point on that is, I have to use what's called X360. It's really easy to work with. So I'm going to open that now. And what you do is basically, I'm going to get rid of me. So I'm going to disappear. Where am I? I am on the Brio. So I turn the Brio off. And then I can go to window capture. And I can in fact make that bigger. So now I can show you how to set up your Xbox controller. I hate it that it's not an Xbox controller, but you're going to trick games into believing it is. Now basically, once you set it up in Xbox 360, okay, so x360ce, I'll email the files for you, and it's a case of, you set it up once, you just have to make sure that before you start Steam, you start x360ce and just leave it running in the background. Now I have multiple monitors. What I normally do is I drag it over to another screen, leave it open, and I put it on the left thumbstick page, because you can adjust your steering and your brakes. You can adjust their sensitivity, their dead zones and everything. And you need this because in Milestone games, because they're designed for a gamepad, they have a massive dead zone. So you need an anti-dead zone. And X360 allows you to do that. So what we need to do now is set it up. It's really, really simple. Now there's a few points I have forgotten, but basically once you get it going, you start 360, you might want to watch some other videos on how to get it going, but it's pretty easy. Once you start it, you won't see any of this, and what you do is you'll set up a new controller and that, and basically when this will be all greyed out, so this will be greyed out until you set some of these. So I've found best rule of thumb is I do my A, B, X, Y, and then once they're set, this starts showing as it is now. It'll no longer be ghosted, but you need to set these first. Now there's different ways to do it. You can come to here, so I want to set my button A. I can click on the little down arrow, I can say record, and once I click record, I then just press the button. Or instead of doing that, I can come to the actual A button on the controller, which will be this one. I can click it, it will flash red, and now I need to punch a button on my controller. Hence, I'm now using my headset as a camera. So, as I said, for my A, I'm going to use this lower cluster here. I'm going to press the lower green button, and that is now my A. And now when I press it, you can see it goes green. So now I want to do my B. So I'll press the B button. I'm going to do the red one. I'm trying to see if my camera's in the way. I'm going to do the red one. So now I've got that. Now, the problem is the red buttons they're not momentary. So you only need to do a light push, otherwise it will stick on. Now they used to be delatchable, I used to delatch them, but over COVID the company that made those particular buttons stopped manufacturing them, so I can't delatch them anymore. So now we need to do our X and our Y. So go to my X, and that's the red on the top. I'm going to do a momentary push there. Right, now you see I've got the start button is also flashing because that was from an old setup. So I'm going to click on the arrow, hit empty. Now when I press the red button, only the X is working. So that's because that's from my old controller where I was using it, from my handlebars. Now I want to go to the Y, and I recommend using this layout because it's very easy to remember. So now I've got my A, B, X, Y, and if you look at the pattern, A is lower, then B. Although the X and the Y are going in a different direction, it's still from the bottom and up to go from X to Y. Now, for my back button, I am going to use, there's a slider down here, right, and go left and right. So if I push it left, it goes to back because back is left. Now, if I do my start button, so I want to do my start button, I'll click it to the right. So now I've got my back and my start. So now I want to come over to the left side. Now the thing is, I've got to reach forward. That's going to warp it even worse. But at least this is better than not being able to show anything. So now I want to do my D-pad up. So I click on the D-pad up, I press the up, and I use top cluster ring button. So I've got the D-pad up. Then I want to do my D-pad down. That's small press on the red one, so I don't press it all the way in. And that's all you need. It's easy to do. You'll understand once you get it. So now we need to do D-pad left, which I can do on the throttle switch. So I press it left to quickly go in the menu left, and then I can do right. So I've got my D-pad right. Okay. Now I want the thumb press. Okay. So I press the thumb press for the left thumbstick, I use that with my clutch. Now you see, the thing is, because I use full pull, a Hal sensor or a transducer has a start and a finish. You can't use a mid-axis. So you have to use like the thumbstick push button as clutch, and also the same for the rear brake. So now I'm going to press the thumbstick push and make that my rear brake. So now you can see my rear brake. So we've got that. So now I want my throttle is always on the gamepad. It's always going to be your right trigger. So I open my throttle and I'm good to go there. Make sure it goes 0 to 55, and then I do the same for my front brake. Make sure that's going to 55, and you can adjust those for dead zone and sharpness and everything. I'll show you that in a bit. So that's those. Then for my bumpers, which is gear shift, so I use for the right gear shift is change up. So change up, and then left bumper, change down. So I've got me up, me down, me throttle, me brake, me clutch, my rear brake, my D-pad up, D-pad down, D-pad left, D-pad right. I've got me A, B, X, Y, and I've got me back and me start. I don't worry about the X button, but you can do that on one of the other sliders or something. That's up to you. And there's other buttons which you can set up to joy, to key, anything like that, which will allow you to do so much more with your system if you want to. Right, so now you've got that, one of the most important things is you go here, okay, it says left thumb. Now for your triggers, we'll come back in a minute, but left thumb, this is the most important thing. Here is where it's got your anti-dead zone, your dead zone, and your sensitivity. This is to do with your steering. Right now, this can change between between computer system to computer system and how you've got things set up. But right now, for Ride 5 MotoGP, I'm basically using the same settings. I've got an anti-dead zone of 13%, but then a built-in dead zone of 3. Now I can't explain why I have to do that, but it just seems to, once you've got an anti-dead zone, it's overly sensitive, so then you add a new dead zone, but your own dead zone to suit you. And then under that, you've got your sensitivity. Now it normally says make it less. I invert that, so you click the invert, and then you can make it more sensitive to the center, and I've got that at 9% right now, and those settings should be pretty good. Now if I go to trigger, you can see I've actually got the sensitivity of my brake. I've inverted it to make it even more sensitive at the center, bit of a dead zone on it, and that way it's just it's a better brake, a lot quicker. And then same for my throttle, I've got 12% more sensitivity to it. So those are my settings there. What I normally do is go to left thumb, and then I drag this and stick it on another screen. So that's on my left screen right now. So we don't have to worry about that anymore. But now what we want to do is we want to go into a game. And I'll show you on Steam. Where are we? Where is Steam? There. Right, so now I've got, make sure X360 is open before you start Steam. Close. Right. Library. Right. So if I click on, probably this is MotoGP controller, you see I've got disable Steam inputs, and it disables everything except Steam controller and remote play. Now right at the moment I've also got an Xbox controller connected, which I need for UEVR for adjustment, so ignore that. But it's saying an Xbox controller is actually connected and not a PlayStation controller, so we're good to go there. Now the reason I said that is you need to make sure when you've got the controller on that where it says controller here under maybe later, on the right hand side you got that white, all white, support your Xbox controller. So you now have verification by Steam. It's recognised the controller, recognises an Xbox controller, and you're ready to play. Oh God, 1 second, I've got someone at my door. I'll be quick. Oh, it's probably the bloody mailman. Hence why I don't normally make videos at this time of day. Seriously, sorry about that. There was actually some idiot wanting to see if I needed my hedges trimmed, and no, I can do that myself. F off. Right, okay. But if I'm going to play, as those that know me, I can't play anymore. Well, I can't ride in bloody VR, but I hate flat screen. And when you consider I've got 50-inch screens, but they are, well, yeah, 10 foot away. It's like I'm looking at a 12-inch screen. I don't know, or even the phone. It's just, no, it's not good. So, we now want to make it where I go into, so I can actually enlarge this window. I've got to figure which windows I'm playing with. Right, VR, I need this one big. And then I'm going to hit my Brio. Right. That should do. Right, so I suppose I need to put my head on so I can actually ride. Right. Then once I've got my head on, I'll quickly run through the controls again, but so you can see from my perspective when I'm looking what's actually going on. Right. Now, one thing I recommend, if you're sitting on a couch, don't try wearing any shoes or slippers or anything on your left foot for gear shift. because of the angle you're sitting, your ankle, if you're wearing any kind of shoe whatsoever, even the slippers like me, you can't move your ankle properly in order to go from under the gear shift to over the gear shift and that. So it's best do it in your socks for the gear shift. I leave my slipper on for the rear brake, slipper off for gear shift. Just a tip. But if you were on my sit-on system, then it doesn't matter, you just wear shoes. It's fine. Right, so now I've got to get into my head. Right, and try and do this without too much of a fiasco, which I normally have with UEVR lately. It just, it tends to give me ag. Right, so let's make sure I'm centered. Right, reset view. Okay, we're good to go there. Right, I don't go to link. Ooh, nearly. See, first boo-boo I forgot to do. Right. Computer only. Okay. We're good with virtual desktop. I did not want to make that mistake where I was then, not really going to be able to get in the VR. So now you can see the handlebars in front of me. I'm going to try and position my stuff. So basically the center clusters you don't have to use, and you understand how the manufacturers make these buttons. These outer ones are momentary. You can press them and they release, but these you press them and they stick. So I'm not going to do that at the moment. Then we've got our A, B, then we've got our back and start, X, Y, D-pad up, D-pad down, D-pad left, D-pad right. Then we've got our gear shift, which is gear shift up, gear shift down, which is our bumpers. We've got our rear brake, that's the thumbstick push. Clutch is thumbstick push left. Then we got throttle, front brake and steering. Right, we're clear on that. And steering down to setting. Now I turned it all the way down, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as I'm only on desktop. 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll try it on 8, see what it's like from there. So now, find my control. Go into that. Right. And the screen is right in my fitting. There's that one, that's it. Push it back. Okay. Now we've got to remember, over UEVR. Did I set it? No, I haven't. I thought I keep forgetting to reset it, restart as administrator. Right, native, stereo, skip draw, openvr, notify, focus. Right, now, cable's going to be a bit of a pain. Well, I think we're ready to go. X360 is open. Yes. Hit play and wait for the game to start. Let's hope this time we can just get in without any lag. I need my game controller. I hope I'm going to be centered, but I might not be centered on the bike. The flickering, I don't know why it's happened since the updates for the last two, but that is dead center. So I pull my clutch in, hit my rear brake. So far so good. It's staying where it should be. It's not faffing around. Right, so I want to go single player, which is right button. So I do gear shift up, then Grand Prix, so A, Arbolino, start. Well, I'm going to go in, I've got to set my position up. Or normally I'd have to set the position up, but maybe it'll put me on the bike in the right seating position, I don't know. I want to be on the bike. This DLSS 4 is so... Ooh, I got manky weather, what the hell?
It's overcast and temperatures have dropped. Many riders
Ooh. 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 Why has it stuck me in manky weather? Yeah. Oh well, that's interesting. Right, we go down. Oh, but the clarity is, I just can't believe since DLSS 4 came out. Right, what position? Right, my seat position is wrong. Okay, I'm going to have to reset the seat position. So I'm going, ouch! You bastard. Clutch, rear brake. I should do this as quick as possible. I've got to pull in throttle. Oh, what the hell? Well, there the throttle's working. Oh, the gamepad's not working in this. Oh, holy shit. Okay, I might just have to... Right, it says standing origin. X. I've got a UEVR error. I don't know what I just did. Okay, I'm in the wrong seat position. I thought the Xbox was going to save me, but obviously it's not. I am seated like I've got my head right in the fairing, and my Xbox controller's not working. So, oh, this is weird. Oh well, I'm not going to worry about it. It's a VR problem, but you can see the controller, and I haven't used this controller yet. It's debut run. So I'm just going to test it. I'm not going to bother racing. I don't know why my actual Xbox controller is not bloody working. I can't reset myself. But they're still managing to somehow. Get around here, and it still feels good, even though the head's in the bloody wrong place. Input from the controls is perfect, so I am not going to complain. It's the main thing about it. I just wanted to do a test. I'm going to have to figure out why my Xbox controller ain't working, so I can adjust UEVR, because that is critical. And I don't know why it is. MotoGP will not save your rider position. It always bloody changes it. You start the bloody game and yeah, it fucks you right up. I think you can see here, I'm not going balls out because I am in such the wrong seating position. But it's still fun. Oh, yeah, that was a bit too early. Come on, baby. Oh, no. Oh, can't bring back. I do actually need to come up on that steering damper. So offsetting at this position. Oh, I was looking at the looking at bloody dials over there. Not a good idea in VR. Not a good idea in VR. I don't have to lean down, I'm already bloody down. If I lean down, I'm like this. If I lean down, I'm right in the bloody speed. Oh no, I left it too late. Oh, can we get it? Come on, baby. Do you want the handlebars for a bit? Even the dials, if I look now at the instruments, I don't know if you can see that, they are crystal clear. There is no pixelization, nothing. It is bloody unbelievable. I really cannot fault them. Oh my god, the sheen on those faults. Oh! Stop looking at the faults, Alan. Right. It still feels. Oh, I'm on the green. What a bummer. Right, that's the last lap. It doesn't matter. Even though my seat position is total poo, I can't figure out why my Xbox controller is registering. Oh, that could be X360 wasn't allowing it. So I don't know why. Why are you not working, you stupid bloody thing? Okay. So I hope. Well, you didn't need to see the VR kerfuffle. All you needed to see. So I need to now get out of here. So I go B. I want to quit the game. Press A. Yes. And this is where I end up having to look outside. I hate it with these games. Using UEVR, you cannot just plain and simply quit a game. What it does is it will leave you hung inside Steam, and that means you just, well, yeah, you're totally buggered. So I click down here, menu, hit quit, that should take me out, bring me back here. So now I can at least say thank you very much. You can kind of see how far away I am. I've even got a bike in between us. So I hope that managed to sort set up for X360ce. So basically if you use that with any Milestone game, even like TT Isle of Man, Crew Motorfest, anything that's got a bike in it, highly recommend use x360ce and you'll be good to go. You need to play around with those settings on your left thumbstick for the steering, but otherwise, yeah, it's that felt really good. Those settings were perfect for MotoGP on my system. Like I say, every system is going to maybe feel a bit different. It depends on what hardware you're running, but that's on my system. So I hope that helped, and I will see you in the next one where I'll try and do X output. But right now, I've got to pack this lot to go to Malaysia. So thank you for watching and goodbye. If, once again, I can find that stop streaming button. Right, stop streaming. Yes, I said stop streaming.